This is the Patriots Catch-22 podcast with Evan Lazar and Alex Barth.
I'm Evan Lazar. Evan Lazar. Hello, everybody.
Nailed it. Joined as always by our Barth.
That's a fit. That's a match.
No risk it, no biscuit.
22.
Here is Evan Lazar and Alex Barth.
In terms of the ways that the Jets can actually beat you, like between the lines, I think there's a couple of things. Their run game offensively is very explosive. It's not very consistent. It's kind of like last week for the Patriots, where it's like two big runs often skew all their numbers. Breece Hall is an explosive back. I think he's third in the league right now in explosive run rate. So he's a big play threat. We obviously know what Justin Fields can do with those design quarterback runs. This is options. Like, he's going to be in the gun. He's going to have, read option plays. It's going to be, tackle trap. It's going to be zone read. It's going to be RPO. It's going to be Justin Fields is trying to run all over this field tomorrow night. I have some lingering thoughts on that, because that's kind of what we saw in the opening drive, but then the Patriots clamped it down, as they seem to do, Alex, every week. We have the same exact formula for this Patriots defense, so we'll get to all of that. I don't want to do an entire autopsy of this Jets game, because it's almost a week ago that this game happened, but I do have some, let's call them lingering thoughts from the Jets game that are a little bit more big picture. So we'll get to that here in a few minutes. I do want to start with news as well, or just, kind of current state of things for the Patriots. But it's Evan Lazar, it's Alex Barth, it's Alex Behind the Glass. We are going to be here for the next couple of hours talking Patriots football, and it's a good time to be talking Patriots football. This is the most fun I've had talking Patriots football. And I was trying to think about this, actually, because maybe I was just too close to it at this point, but by 2018, 2019, you could tell that Brady was kind of miserable. And I don't know if it was as fun as more as it was relieving when they won in 2018. I think a lot of people feel that way about the whole maybe second chapter of the dynasty, because the stakes and the expectations were so high that it was literally win the Super Bowl or the season was a failure, that there was almost this feeling of pressure or stress about winning versus just celebrating the fact that they were winning so much. So this team is playing with house money a little bit in year one under Mike Vrabel, and I think it's been more fun to talk about it, and more fun to talk about it and just cover it. Now, I think it's the most fun I've ever had covering a Patriots team. As a fan, like, I think you probably have to go back to 14, 16, like those teams, because like I said, 18 was, the wheels were already kind of coming off in 18. So I would say, like, probably this really Dynasty 2.0, like the meat of Dynasty 2.0, when they were going to the AFC Championship game every single year. But again, it was like I remember in 2011 when they beat Baltimore in the AFC Championship game, and Cundiff misses the kick, and was it Sterling Moore?
Yep.
Right. A drop, gets the drop or whatever.
It's Lee Evans.
Yep. Those plays, I just remember being so relieved that they won that game. Not euphoric or happy that they won that game, but just flat out, they should have lost that game. Thank God they didn't. And then, of course, you go on that year in particular and lose the Super Bowl. But you must be having a great time with this too, because this is the first time that we've really covered a team that's like new and young and exciting.
Yeah, I mean, look, 21 was cool, obviously. I think what's happened since takes some of the shine off of that.
Right.
And that was maybe kind of like 18, and there was an element of being defensive about it, obviously for different reasons. But no, this has been, I mean, yeah, like you said, look at you having fun. I'm proud of you.
Who would have thought?
You don't usually do that.
I don't.
But, watching these games
sapped it out of me until Drake Maye and Mike Vrabel brought it back.
Watching these, you hated fun even when Brady was here.
Yeah, because it wasn't fun.
It's still, no, I'm sorry. 2018 was still fun.
It was fun once they got to the playoffs.
It probably helps that it was our first year. If we'd been doing it, if we could compare it to 14 and 16 in terms of covering the team, it would probably feel a little different. I think the fact it was our first year helped. But no, it was really cool sitting down Sunday, and watching these games and thinking about how some of these teams stack up with the Patriots, and they put the playoff graphic up on CBS. I used to love it when I was a kid growing up, and they'd put this, well, not in the hunt, a lot more than in the hunt. I used to love when they'd put the graphic up on Sundays at the end of the game and then do all the machinations in my head of, all right, this and that. And you know what I went back to? It used to be one of my favorite things. When we first worked together, I used to make you fill this out every week, and we'd post it. The ESPN playoff machine.
Oh, yeah.
I dove back into the playoff machine yesterday for the first time in a while. So, you know, to watch all these games.
For somebody that hates all of that, the fact that you like the playoff machine kind of is mind-boggling. Like,
what does that have to do with anything?
It's a predictive model. Like, it's a model that's based off of the expected.
No, it's not. We're talking about different. I'm talking about the thing where you literally it gives you the schedule, you pick each game, and then it tells you what the playoff would look like.
But you're still trying to predict what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, that's not. Okay. There's a difference between I'm going to pick who I think is going to win the game from watching the games and like analytics. Those are two different things.
Okay. Keep going.
They have some preset criteria. You could do like win percentage, offensive rank. They don't have. Anyway, but no, it's been cool that like the Patriots are in the National League conversation, and we're talking about potential playoff matchups. We're talking about seeding. We're talking about things. I mean, what we did at the open of the last show, like that's been great. That there's some bigger thing that this season's building towards. That's not who are they going to take in the top 5 of the draft. Don't get me wrong. I love doing the draft, but
we did it.
I did it, and I don't mind as much as I love the draft. I don't mind if we don't get to it until the end of January or maybe even the middle of February. Well, still do a little Senior Bowl, but.
Well, I was just talking to Deuce about in our line of work as we kind of have to start planning for things like the Senior Bowl and the combine.
Players can't look ahead. We have to.
So we've had just preliminary conversations about that kind of stuff, and it's a real question this year of like, I mean, the Senior Bowl is right after the AFC Championship game, in between the Super Bowl and the championship weekend. So depending on
it's Pro Bowl. Oh, I guess it's not Pro Bowl weekend anymore.
Depending on how long the Patriots season goes, like, dare I say they could be playing.
Could be some overlap there.
But there could be some overlap. So it's like, what do we do? You know, and that
right.
has not been a conversation that we've had the last 2 years. So
right.
it's cool.
We'll see.
Look at me. Look at us. I'm having fun. Isn't
You're
that good?
fun.
All right, let's talk about some news with the Patriots and Patriots adjacent news, and then I do want to get to those lingering thoughts from this Jets game. I have some thoughts, and I'm sure you do too. Actually got to watch some football on Sunday around the NFL and not just cover the Patriots. So we got to see some other teams play, and just like you were talking about with the AFC playoff picture. So we'll get to some of that too, and we'll talk a little bit Bengals, of course, and all that good stuff. But starting with the news, I want to focus in on the Patriots. I know the big news overnight is that Jamar Chase's suspension was upheld.
Yeah.
His appeal was denied. He is out on Sunday for the Bengals. He will not play in this game against the Patriots officially now. There's no second appeal. You can't, appeal it to the Supreme Court now. It's over. Like, he's not playing in this game on Sunday. So that's sort of the overnight news. But the news over the weekend that I think is more important as it pertains to the Patriots is Milton Williams going out with a high ankle sprain, what's being described as a high ankle sprain, or I should say reported as a high ankle sprain. The current timetable, I think Rap Sheet said they're thinking 4 to 6 weeks. This does mean, and I will write this down on the piece of paper and put it on my forehead if I have to, it's games, not weeks.
I think at this point, people are caught up. There was definitely some confusion on Saturday. I understand why people, I think, are caught up at this point.
Weeks. So that means that Milton Williams will miss at least the Bengals, Giants, Bills, and Ravens games. And obviously, coming off the bye, the Bills and the Ravens games have huge implications, division implications with Buffalo, seeding implications with Baltimore. Remember, on top of the fact that you just want to keep winning, in general, your record within the conference is a big part of the tiebreaker formula as well. So if you want to start talking tiebreakers, Buffalo and Baltimore, of course, are not only a division opponent in Buffalo, but also AFC opponents as well. So if you start to, if you lose both those games, then that's going to hurt against the Colts. That's going to hurt against Denver. It might not hurt you as much because they can go 3-3 down the stretch and win 12 games and probably win the division. I would say.
I mean,
It's not impossible for Buffalo to come back, but I would say it's more probable than not that the Patriots at 12 wins would win the AFC East.
Especially if they win that Bills game.
Sure, but I'm even talking if they don't win the Bills game.
If they don't win the Bills game, yeah, they're still probably going to win it with 12. But like that game's not like it will be a hat and t-shirt game. I don't know. There's a few weeks after it, but it's really tough for Buffalo to win when you look at the rest of their schedule to win the division without winning that game.
Yeah. So when you start to talk about this Milton Williams injury, obviously there's the impact of losing Milton Williams himself, and then there's who fills in for Milton Williams moving forward. But just on Milton Williams himself, right now, Milton Williams is third in the league in pass rush win rate among defensive tackles. So he is one of the best disruptors on the interior in the NFL. The Patriots, statistically, eye test wise, I would say that they have an average pass rush. I don't think it stinks, but it's certainly on the scale of stinks to the Denver Broncos, it's somewhere in the middle.
Well, the problem is it runs hot and cold. It's not like they're this consistent middle level of okay. Sometimes they'll have stretches like a drive or two where they're really good, and then they'll have a drive or two where they disappear.
I think a lot of it's dependent on down and distance, right? When they get you into third and long, they've been able to pressure, but those first and second downs, it's been not so much. So a big part of that is Milton Williams. Now removing him, how much does that have a big picture effect on a already, let's call it average pass rush as it is? And then I would also say, they've been doing a lot with a 4-man pass rush. So now do you all have to start blitzing more? Do you have to start changing your play calling? Not necessarily changing your scheme, but changing your play calling because you can't generate any pressure with 4 guys without Milton Williams. So that's a big trickle down. I also think that there's another element of this too, of now you start to get into, you're going to have to pick your spots with players situationally. Like you're going to have to probably recreate Milton Williams in the aggregate of like 2 or 3 different guys that are playing in certain situations that aren't necessarily a 3 or 4 down player like Milton Williams is. So Corey Durden's going to play a little bit more. I'm sure Tonga will play a little bit more. Maybe, Josh Farmer comes back and he plays a little bit more. But most importantly, Tonga has really been used as an early down, short yardage nose tackle. When they go 5-man front, 3-4 front, they put him at the nose. They put Milton Williams and Christian Barmore at 3-4 ends, and then they have Landry and Chase on, obviously, as your outside linebackers. Now Tonga might have to play more in 4-man fronts instead of only just those 5-man fronts. Maybe you have Durden play a little bit more in the 4-man fronts, which is what happened at the end of the Jets game after Milton Williams went out. So I think what they're going to have to end up doing is deciding, okay, Tonga is going to be our early down tackle next to Christian Barmore. Durden's going to kind of be our late, down tackle next to Christian Barmore. And they're going to, instead of having one player that's going to be playing 70% of the snaps, they're going to have to recreate Milton Williams with a bunch of different bodies.
Yeah, I think that's true. Look, I don't want to minimize the injury. Like Milton Williams has been a great player. And look, when's the last time an athlete in Boston, in this media market, in this landscape, signed a record-breaking contract and people wondered if maybe they underpaid him? Like, that's how good Milton Williams has been. So I don't want to diminish the injury. The thing that does stand out, though, is we talked a lot leading up to the trade deadline about they were lacking depth in all these different spots. This is the one spot you can probably absorb it.
Yeah. Because
they have that depth at defensive tackle. They have Tonga, who's obviously been awesome. Corey Durden, I think, has really come on strong the last few weeks. Really like watching him play. Eric Gregory comes out, gets a run stop, the first play of his NFL career. They still have Jeremiah Farms on the practice squad as well, who has some NFL experience. So I don't think it's going to look the same without Milton Williams. You're going to notice that he's not out there. Like, there's going to be a difference. But I do think if there's one position where they could handle a major injury, like, it shouldn't all fall apart without Milton Williams. They should be able to get by with, now, if he's missing time in the playoffs, that's another story. But for 5 weeks, 4 games, whatever, they should be able to get by. It's just how do you manage it? And to your point, this is the one position where they kind of have a lot of players, relatively speaking, They have a number of players at their disposal who can do different things, who can help them get by and handle this. If they had lost, a starter on the edge, or, if they had lost another running back or a tight end or some of these other positions we were talking about during the trade deadline, it would be a much different conversation. And we'd probably be talking about like free agents and things like that. But this is the one position where they are kind of built with some depth and they should be able to handle it.
Yeah, I'm pretty optimistic that they'll be able to still stop the run with the group that they have, because Tonga's a really good run player. Durden's a really sturdy player in there. Farmer's a strong player, long arms.
Right, I didn't even mention Farmer. What'd you think? I'm just curious. What'd you think of Gregory in his few snaps?
I thought he was fine. And what I like about him is, lower center of gravity, wide body. Harder to double team. He's pretty good at splitting those double teams because he plays with good leverage in the run game. It was limited, but I think there's something there in terms of like run stuffing ability. So I don't think that they're going to be significantly less stout against the run without Milton Williams. But what you worry about is what I mentioned earlier is, are you now going to have to manufacture more pass rush? Are you going to have to start blitzing more? Or you have to start calling more schemed rushes, where you're sending pressure from different places? And how much does that have a trickle down effect? Not necessarily against like the Bengals and the Giants, but when you play those two games against Baltimore and Buffalo, with two teams that have quarterbacks that, if there's holes, those two guys are going to find the holes in the back end. And if you're blitzing guys and things like that, then you're going to be able to find it. I think we all can agree that the best way to defend a guy like Josh Allen is to maintain 7 or 8 guys in coverage. Like, I think a lot of the teams that you see have success with Josh Allen, it's 4-man rush. It's sometimes even drop 8. It's like 3-man rush a lot of the time. Blitzing him is kind of like blitzing Drake Maye. Like, you're just kind of asking for trouble.
Asking to get beat, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that that's an element of it with Milton Williams. A couple of other smaller things, but did happen over the last couple of days with the Patriots. Braden Swinson and CJ Dupree signed from the practice squad to the 53-man roster. There is some reporting out there that they were potentially going to get poached by other teams, and that's what led to this. I also think that there's maybe not so much for Swinson because they have so much depth in terms of bodies at outside linebacker, and Elijah Ponder's already flashing and competing for snaps behind Landry and Chason. So I don't know if there's a direct path for Swinson, but there's definitely the direct path for Dupree to play, because they don't have a traditional third tight end on the roster until now, and we still don't know. We'll find out later today at practice if Austin Hooper's concussion, if he's going to be cleared, if he's going to play on Sunday. So I do think there's a chance that Dupree could have a role moving forward. They kind of recreated Austin Hooper in last Thursday night with Ben Brown and with the 6-0 line, and they did that about, I want to say 12 or 13 times in that game last week. So that was sort of how they recreated the blocking element with Hooper. But Dupree is a 6'5", 260-pound tight end. Like, he is a blocking tight end. This is what he does. So I do think that there's an element of it as well to that. But just what are your thoughts on them really not wanting to lose Swinson and Dupree, it sounds like, but also any potential roles for those two guys?
I do wonder if Dupree's going to have some sort of role, either as a fullback, either as another tight end to allow Westover to play fullback. Because to go back to what we were just talking about, Kyrus Tonga doesn't play more on defense now.
Yeah.
And does the coaching staff, and Mike Vrabel's talked about needing to manage some older guys, right? Not that Tonga's old, but is it, okay, well, we need this guy now more on defense, so we're not going to have him at fullback as much. So now Jack Westover goes back to being a full-time fullback. If Austin Hooper's still banged up, or even if he's not, I mean, Dupree's a blocking tight end. Does that create more of an opportunity for him? Swinson, I wonder if he's going to be active.
Me too.
And if he does play, it's probably just on special teams, because Elijah Ponder's playing a bigger role since the trade of Keon White. And he actually hasn't been bad. He's got sacks in back-to-back weeks now. And then they still have Caleb Murphy, who really is only playing on special teams. So you figure if they like Swinson, they would have added him to the roster instead of claiming Murphy off waivers a couple weeks ago. I don't think Murphy's done anything to lose ground, right? So he's probably behind those guys. That one feels like more of a long-term play. But maybe Dupree plays a little bit. He could be inactive too, but I do think there's a path to where he's contributing a little bit on offense, goal line, things like that.
It'd be interesting to see what they do with Tonga, because he played 8 snaps on offense in Tampa. Big part of the game plan, having him in there. And then the following week against the Jets, albeit on a short week, he only played 1 snap on offense, with the Milton Williams injury mixed in there. So
Right.
how much do they balance that? I still think the Tonga thing is probably not hugely impacted, just because I think it's a very game situation specific package. Like, yeah, if you're in a ton of 3rd and 1s like they were against Tampa, where they were in short yardage a lot, goal line a lot, then maybe he plays a little bit more. But then against the Jets, they weren't in that as much, and he only played 1 snap. So I don't think that package was ever meant for him to play 20 snaps of offense, right? Like that was always going to be a very specialized thing. But at the same time, it could have a trickle down effect on that. So that was some of the Patriots news. We'll talk about Chase here in a little bit when we get to the Bengals. Obviously, him being out is a big part of this game coming up. But that's wanted to start with the Patriots news. A couple lingering thoughts now on this Jets game. Let's start with Drake Maye because I just wanted to go over, since we had this little extra time without doing a whole autopsy of this game. This to me and to my my film study, my grading on this game. I hate using grading. My charting of this game. I'm a freaking coach. My charting of this game. This was his best game for me since week 6 in New Orleans, just purely off of what the film looked like in this game. I thought he was outstanding against the Jets. I had him for 11 positive plays, 4.5 minus plays, 6.5 net. That's his 3rd highest charted game in my eye since week 6 and week 2 against Miami. I had him as a +9 in both those games. I think that those were his 2 best games. Miami was probably his best game of the year, but those were his 2 best games, and this one was 3rd. So really good game for him. I thought in this one, obviously takes a little bit of a step back in terms of level of competition. Like he's not going up against Cleveland, Atlanta, Tampa. Those are better defenses than what the Jets put out there. But what I thought stood out to me the most from this game from Drake Maye was just how in control he was in this game. Just really looked like he was in complete control, pre-snap, complete control, post-snap. Made great decisions with the football. Really, the minus plays that I had in this game were throws. Like I thought the post to Kyle Williams that I was almost intercepted was probably his only true really negative play. That one hung up on him a little bit. But overall, I thought that he was great in this game. And you start to see, again, against a weaker Jets defense, but you start to see him doing some of the things at the line of scrimmage pre-snap that are telling you, okay, he's starting to really master not only his own craft and being just extremely talented in his own right, but now he's really starting to master the system and understanding, where the pressure points are, how to move protection, how to change mic points, how to change formation, where the weaknesses are in the defense when they go empty, like finding your matchups, that sort of thing. This was like him putting on a clinic of how to run the Josh McDaniels offense. It really was. So it was good to see that again, because he's had some tougher matchups recently, and it's been a little bit more up and down, kind of first half, second half sort of thing for him. But in this game, Drake Maye was back to absolutely dealing.
Yeah, and let's give some credit to the offensive line, too. He only got hit 4 times in this game. I think that, compared to, I think it was 16 combined the previous 2 weeks. So he was able to settle in more than he had recently. And then once he settled in, he got very comfortable, and he was just ripping it. So, yeah, I'm with you. I thought this was one of his better games. Level of competition maybe knocks it down a bit, but the pocket movement was the big thing for me. And he talked about back in the summer wanting to stay a thrower when he scrambles. And it's kind of come in waves with him this year, where I feel like he'll be good about it for a few games. And then maybe he gets a little comfortable, starts to let go of the rope a little bit. He starts leaning on the run more. We talked about this around the Tennessee game. And then either something happens, he turns the ball over, he takes a big hit, something, and it kind of is just like, it was a reminder like, oh, yeah. And so he had that weird scramble early in the game where he gets like a couple yards, and then he turns 90 degrees to the left, and he doesn't even slide. He just kind of stops running, which was, don't do that. But after that, I wonder if that was one of those reminder points for him where it's just, all right, nope, got to keep my eyes up, got to look to throw when there's nothing there. And then the rest of the game, the things he's doing to maneuver in the pocket remain a thrower, the back-to-back throws to Diggs and then the touchdown to Henderson, examples of that. That was the most impressive thing to me about Drake in this game.
Yeah, I think that is probably the most improved area of his game is his pocket movement, because I think what you saw, and you've seen it at times this year, but it's been significantly better. What you saw at North Carolina than what you saw his rookie season was almost too much pocket movement where he would move into pressure. So instead of just these subtle Brady-esque kind of movements in the pocket where he's going to slide a little bit to his left or he's going to step through the pocket, he would create pressure by moving too much in the pocket. Now what they have him doing is understanding like that you can just subtly move around the pocket, 2-3 steps this way, 2 to 3 steps up, whatever the case may be, and keep your eyes down the field and remain a thrower, as you said, and then push the ball down the field once you find that clean air. He has gotten significantly better at that. He's gotten significantly better at protecting the ball while he's sliding and while he's moving in the pocket. You can see him out there with the 2 hands on the football, the swing throughs, protecting the football. Those elements of his game have improved leaps and bounds. I kind of thought that he had a lot of the other stuff going as a rookie, maybe not as consistently as he's done it this year, but you saw flashes, of course, of like the downfield ball placement and all that kind of stuff, even at North Carolina. But the pocket mechanics, his footwork, his ability to move the pocket, his ability to keep himself protected and not create pressure, those are all like the sort of minutiae or the details that I think have really taken the next step this year compared to last year and have made him a much more dangerous and just more difficult quarterback to defend. Because when you get guys that can move off the spot like that and then keep their eyes downfield and make throws after they move, that's the worst thing in the world for a defense is, we think we have him dead to rights. He gets out and now all of a sudden he's throwing the ball and not just taking like a 6 or 8 yard scramble. Now it's a 20-yard play down the field as a thrower. So I thought he was terrific in this game, and I fully expect him to be terrific again on Sunday against a very bad Bengals defense. It might be his statistical best game of his career coming up on Sunday. If he plays like he did against the Jets, then he's going to
he almost had that 300-yard game.
He probably should have.
It was a great play from Brandon Stevens is all that stopped it. Because that was a dime to Mac Hollins.
Yeah, it was. And, I just think that if this is how he's going to play against this level of competition, then they're going to clean up in these types of games.
Right.
They're not going to lose types of games, against the Jets, the Giants, the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Jets again. Like that's, to me, if Drake Maye plays this way, you can put 4 wins in the win column for the Patriots in those games. Like they're not losing with him playing quarterback like this.
Sounds familiar.
So that was really good to see. Not that I thought that he was bad in the Browns, Falcons, and Bucks games. Certainly not the Bucks game. I thought it was really good in Tampa Bay. But this was just in terms of the lack of negative plays, especially was just really in total command and dominated kind of.
But also,
this game.
To be fair, the Jets have not forced a turnover on American soil yet this year.
Yeah, no, the Jets defense is bad. But with you're going up against bad defenses, you make them look bad. That's good news. That's what you want to see. Now, on the other side of the ball, one of the things that has been sort of bugging me all season, it's lingering for me after this game. I still just don't love how they're playing defensively. And maybe this is a me thing, and I just have to get over it. Like they're not going to play man coverage like they did with Bill. Maybe they will eventually, Bill Belichick, maybe they will eventually. But to his credit, Belichick was one of the best man coverage schemers of his time. He was a guy that really understood how to leverage, how to create help, how to maintain numbers in coverage while getting pressure with man coverage. He was one of the best at it. And not all coaching staffs and not all teams are going to be as good at it as the Patriots were with, Gilmore and Revis and, when they were in their prime with the man coverage stuff. So I get that, but I still have, hesitations about how they've done that. And I also think that it's worth bringing up. And I know I kind of hear what Vrabel says about it when he says that it's easy to point to with the opening drives. And there's an element of it that he's right about, of course, in that if they play great defense after the opening drive, then who really cares, right?
Right.
So you're going to give up 7 points. You're going to give up, what was it, 14, against the Jets, or 13 or whatever it was. But at the same time, I think it goes hand in hand in terms of their plans going into these games, their game planning ability. The opening drive is all about script, right? It's literally your scripted plays and your game plan all week long against their scripted plays and their game plan all week long. So that's coaching, right? That points to coaching. Now, I'll hear the argument that they're playing a little bit possum with this. Maybe they are kind of going out there and saying, let's just see what the other team does. Let's see what their plan is against us. We'll make a few adjustments and we'll lock it down. Totally possible. But just to read off the stats, for full disclosure here, in 11 games this season, they've given up 8 scoring drives on the opening drive. It's tied for most in the NFL.
Yep.
8 out of 11 teams. And it doesn't matter if you're the Jets or you're the 2007 Patriots. They're giving it up. 8 out of 11.
It's the only ones they haven't are the Dolphins, Bills, and Falcons.
Yeah,
right?
and the Bills fumbled on their opening drive.
That's right.
Which was kind of more of like a self-inflicted wound
Yep.
than it really was you stopping them. They've given up 6 touchdowns on opening drives. So 6 out of 11 have been touchdowns. 2 of them have been field goals. And to get to that 8 number, that's tied for the second most in the NFL. And I believe it's only one off the lead. I think the leader is Tennessee, maybe, with 7. So we're not too far behind.
Tennessee is not a good football team.
So these opening drives is just a weird thing. I kind of liked Robert Spillane's answer about it after the game. He kind of got out in front of it and was like, I know the opening drives. I know. But at the same time, it continues to happen. And there's a couple of other little things that, just looking at the way that they game plan teams that I think come back to the opening drives where I'm just like, these are the things that I would like to see them get better at as a staff and get better at as a defense. I'll get to some of the other scheme stuff, but just let's stick with the opening drives here for a second just to be a little bit organized. You knew coming into this game that the Jets were going to just run Justin Fields. You knew that that's what they were going to do. It was going to be read option. It was going to be, RPO. It was going to be scrambles on third downs. That was going to be the game plan. You knew it. You knew that they were going to take the opening drive and they were going to run 10 zone reads and try to march right down the field running the football. And that's exactly what they did. Now, the Jets are maybe not in a position to keep pressing that button for 4 straight quarters because they get behind and then they have to throw and then the problems start to persist for them. But when you get into these bigger, more high-stakes games and you play the Bills with Josh Allen, when you play Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, even I would say to a lesser degree, but, the Colts with Daniel Jones could do some of this stuff too. He's not a non-zero runner. He can run around a little bit. Of course, Jonathan Taylor is there as well. This is something that if they don't sort of figure out what to do with this in terms of the opening drives, that I do think is indicative of maybe how they are chess matching opponents. These opponents have a book on them on what to do on these opening scripts, and the Patriots so far have not had any answers in that.
Well, but it feels like it's been something different every time. It's not like, oh, they keep getting beat on this concept or they keep getting beat by this or that. The thing I noticed on the first drive against the Jets, and credit goes to the Jets offensive line here. I mean, they were not just winning at the line of scrimmage. They were getting the Patriots defensive linemen on the ground. And then once they get them on the ground, you see linemen do this, you stay on top of them so they can't get back up.
Yeah.
So there's all this room for Justin Fields and Breece Hall to cut back because the defender's just not in play. He's been taken out. I haven't really seen anybody do that to the Patriots defense this year. They didn't really do it to him for the rest of the game. But it was just, they came out, the Jets defense, offensive line came out with more energy. So that's what's so weird about it to me. There's other teams that are going to be able to run on it, but it's not, Tampa kind of threw their way down the field on that opening drive. Mm-hmm. And you go back to Cleveland, it was just, it was a little bit of a mix, but it was the tight ends that killed them. And it's been something different every time, which I wonder is that why they're having so much trouble figuring it out? Because it's not like one thing that you say we're going to fix this and it's fixed, or maybe they fix one thing and then another issue opens up, but it's not. The scoring on the opening drive is a consistent issue, obviously.
Yeah. Why
the other team is scoring, what they are doing to score, the concepts that they're using, it doesn't necessarily carry over week to week. It's kind of been different things.
Yeah, that's a great point. But I think the part that troubles me, I guess, a little bit about it, because to that point, is that it's always the thing that you know that the other team is going to do. Like,
That's a good point.
You know, like it's Justin Fields with the read options. Like you knew that was going to be what the Jets were going to try to do. The Browns throw into their tight ends on the Patriots safeties and linebackers. You knew that Harold Fannin and David Njoku were going to be a huge part of the Browns game plan. Like that, you kind of knew all these different things. The other thing that was a little bit troubling in this game was they gave up 4 third-down conversions.
Well, so they went 4 for 4 on third down on the opening drive. The Jets, they were 4 for 10 from there.
Yeah.
So, and the Patriots have been one of the best third down defenses in the NFL. Is it just an energy thing? Yeah. And we talked about that early in the season, and maybe we come back to it. Is it just an energy thing?
Yeah, it's a good point. Now, in terms of the chess match and some of the schematic things, I just continued to be small c concerned about how they're matching up in man coverage. And in this game, if the Jets had better players, frankly, then I think some of the things the Patriots did defensively in the secondary would have made this a game. And the Jets just had A.D. Mitchell dropping passes left and right, and Justin Fields getting benched, throwing the football.
Right.
And it just didn't. Now, I'll give him this. It was a Thursday night game. It was a short week. It's a division game on a short week. Just get out of there with the win. And it was a take care of business night. It wasn't wow, look at this masterful game plan by Zach Core and Mike Vrabel night.
No, it's a Thursday night game. It's a survive in advance, get through it. Thursday night divisional game too.
That being said, I think that this continues to be something that I've talked about multiple times on the show. So specifically to this Jets game, Christian Gonzalez, the Jets played a lot of 3-by-1. So 3 receivers to the quarterbacks, one side to the quarterback, and 1 receiver to the backside of the formation. And the Patriots just played sides with their corners. They didn't shadow the corners. They didn't move the corners or travel the corners. So they just played sides. So eventually, what the Jets noticed is that they're playing sides. They're not moving Christian Gonzalez off the boundary. So what they did was they took their tight end, Mason Taylor, and they made him the one receiver on the backside of the formation. So what does that do? It creates a situation where Christian Gonzalez is covering the tight end.
Right.
And then inside the formation in the 3-by-1 side, it's a safety on John Mechie most of the time. So their slot receiver is getting matched up on Craig Woodson or Jalen Hawkins. I don't think that should be happening, right? Like that, you don't want that matchup. That's a bad matchup. And when you play man-to-man coverage, or you try to play man-to-man coverage, it's all about matchups. Like, where are our matchups? Where, against Atlanta, it was Atlanta finding ways to get Drake London on Marcus Jones. In this game, it was John Mechie against the Patriots safeties. They hit a touchdown to Mechie this way, and they hit an 18-yard play on third down to Mechie this way, and they should have hit another crosser to A.D. Mitchell, but he dropped the ball. All of these are on wide receivers on safeties. So that to me is all about going into the game and understanding matchups. Like, I'll say it, like this week against Cincinnati, if I was the Bengals, I would just play T. Higgins as a big slot and say to the Patriots, are you going to put Carlton Davis or Christian Gonzalez inside, or are we going to have T. Higgins against Marcus Jones for 4 quarters? Because if we are, then good for us.
I mean, that happened a couple years ago. I mean, guys were hurt. They kind of had to do it, but that happened a couple years ago last time the Bengals were here, and we know how that went.
Yeah.
Do you think they're still maybe spooked a little bit after what happened with Atlanta and Drake London?
Spooked in what sense? Like the motions and all that kind of stuff? I would chalk this one, maybe, but I would chalk this one up to more, it was a Thursday night game, and we're not going to overcomplicate
right, you can't reinvent the wheel.
And then also I would just say, like, the Jets don't have Garrett Wilson. Like, they don't have a receiver where Gonzalez should really be shadowing. But if you're going to go 3-by-1 like that, and they're going to put the tight end as the one receiver, to me, I would just like to see them be able to have a check or have an identification where they can say, well, we're going to put Gonzalez inside over the receiver on the 3-by-1 side instead of having him out on the boundary. I think the biggest difference is that it kind of gives away if it's man or zone. Like, if Gonzalez is going to play inside the slot and he's going to consistently line up there, it kind of tips off to the defense that it's man-to-man coverage, because he probably isn't going to drop into zone from that spot. So that's an element of it, I think. but the teams consistently still, in my mind, are getting favorable matchups by the Patriots being kind of, these are our outside corners, these are our inside corners, and we're not going to move off of that.
Right.
And so at some point, like this week, if they had Chase, which is why I wanted Chase to play, because I just was excited to see how they would match up. But even this week with T. Higgins does play a little bit out of the slot, and they have used him as like a big slot in the past. Yoshivas is a big slot receiver.
Yeah.
He's not a jitterbug slot receiver. He's a bigger guy. So are you going to just stick to your structure where Marcus Jones is your nickel and these are your outside corners and that's just the way it is? Well, if I'm the Bengals, I'm going to put my 6'5" receiver in T. Higgins and my 6'3" receiver in Yoshivas against Marcus Jones and your safeties, and I'm going to take my chances.
Right.
So I think they have to button that up if they're going to play more man coverage. I know everybody's asking, like, why aren't they playing more man to man? They're around like 10th or 11th in the league now in man, so it has gone up a little bit. But like, why aren't they more of like, that cat coverage that Vrabel talked about at the beginning when they signed Carlton Davis? I think the biggest reason why is because they're giving up a lot of yards in man. And a lot of it is because of the matchups. So when they were at their peak and they were cooking in man coverage, Belichick was the best at understanding, we're gonna have Stephon Gilmore travel this week with Amari Cooper, and if he's in the slot, we're okay with that. We're gonna have Gilmore play in the slot,
right?
Because that's their best receiver. Or in a week like this, this is more like the Revis era Patriots, but they used to do this a ton, where they would double the number 1 receiver with their number 2 corner and then put Revis on the number 2 receiver. So maybe this week it's Carlton Davis with help on T. Higgins and then Gilmore on Yoshivas in the slot, right? Like something like that. And that is what I'm still waiting to see them do routinely. Like go into a game where Gonzalez shadows the other team's best receiver or shadows a receiver like 85 to 90% of the time instead of just like 60% of the time, which is what it was with Drake London. So I still think that that's a concern. The other kind of small concern that I had, and I thought it was kind of funny. I was going to bring this up anyways. And then Dan Orlovsky had I think they were doing a segment on like all the team's fatal flaws in the playoff picture. His fatal flaw for the Patriots was that they were playing too much nickel defense. So the Patriots right now are top 5 in the league in nickel defense rate. And he thought his takeaway was if a team like Baltimore, if a team like the Indianapolis Colts, if one of those teams comes in here and just runs the football consistently against the Patriots, then the Patriots are going to have a tough time stopping the run out of nickel. I respect Dan a ton. I think it's the total opposite. I think it's the absolute total opposite. If I'm the Patriots and I'm Mike Vrabel and Indianapolis wants to come in here and try to beat us running the ball 40 times, I say, go right ahead. Please go ahead. Do it. Do it. I dare you.
So they're not stopping. They're stopping the run from nickel in the regular season, which means they won't be able to do it in the playoffs, if I'm to understand Dan correctly.
Well, so I get what he's saying because it's all about bodies on bodies, right? You're talking about body types, and he's looking at the Patriots defense, and he's seeing Marcus Jones at 5'8" to 180 pounds playing the nickel, and he's saying, well, if I'm Indianapolis, I'm going 2 tight ends, and I'm getting Tyler Warren on the nickel, and we're going to be able to move the ball. But the thing is the Patriots aren't giving up a lot of yards in nickel against the run. They're like middle of the pack, but it's good enough that they've been able to stay in nickel because they don't get burned by it. So they're giving up around 4, I think it's like 3.9 or 4 yards a carry out of nickel so far this season, which is like 12th or 13th in the league. But to me, the thing that's more concerning would be a team that comes in here and says, we're going to throw the ball 50 times.
Right.
So that's where I'm at with this defense. I think their coverage is much more concerning than their run defense. I know the statistics back that up, but I also just feel that way even against better competition. Their early down pass defense is 24th in the league in EPA. So if you're going to come in here and beat the Patriots in a playoff game, it's going to be aggressive first and second down pass defense. Like we're not even going to play third down.
Right.
We're just going to throw the ball on first down and we're going to avoid third down altogether. If they come in here and try to run the ball 40 times against the Patriots, I love that. Like, you're going to score 20 points doing that. And Drake Maye is going to score 21 and the Patriots are going to advance. Like, that is totally fine by me.
Right.
If you're going to run the football. But I think the interesting part about it is, their pass defense is something that continues to be a concern to me. Overall, they're 13th in pass EPA, they're 20th in success rate. But that doesn't adjust for the level of competition that they faced either. They're 28th in the league in DVOA against the pass, which does adjust for the schedule and for the level of competition. They're 24th in early down pass EPA. That to me that's the fatal flaw to the defense. Is if you can throw on first and second down consistently against them, they're giving up a lot of yards and a lot of plays.
We've also seen them, some of that, how much of that is because they're just playing some of this like off loose coverage in those situations, which in big games they've gone away from, like against Buffalo. They didn't really do that. So I don't know, maybe like, what are the odds that we get to the playoffs and suddenly that off coverage just isn't there anymore?
I would hope so. They played like 40% man coverage against Buffalo. But I think the thing about...
But I'm talking like...
The way that they approach it, though, I think is like about how much do they fear the receivers on the other team. Because I think they went into the Buffalo game thinking their receivers were kind of trash.
Right.
And they were right about that. And that's played out over the course of 11 weeks for Buffalo for the most part. They've had a lot of trouble with receiver separation. So we talk a lot about zone versus man. Like, man is about your personnel. It's one-on-one. Like, can you beat the opponent's personnel in man? Do you have better receivers than they have defensive backs that day? Zone is scheme, it's instincts, it's IQ. It's more of like a thinking man's game when you get a lot of zone coverage. Man-to-man is simply just, do we have better guys than you?
But even within that, like, they've played off at times and they've played up at the line at times. And I would just see them play a little more aggressive, whether it's in man or zone, and not give these big cushions, which, again, they did against Buffalo. Do they bring that back at some point? Because a lot of that, you're talking about that first and second down passing production.
Yep.
How much of that is they're playing 9 yards off on first and 10 and allow a 7-yard completion?
Yeah, no, that's definitely, I'm sure, part of it. Now, that's a successful play.
It's a successful play, but isn't that kind of by design for the defense, like this bend, don't break thing?
I would assume so, but the question is like when you play a quarterback in the playoffs who's, a good quarterback, not Bo Nix, sorry. I'm taking subtle shots at Bo Nix. I have to. But not Daniel Jones necessarily, doesn't concern me this way. But this is why, and I know that, I ruffled some feathers with this take yesterday, so I'll get your take on it as we segue into kind of talking about the whole AFC. I said yesterday that I'd rather play Denver than Kansas City, and everybody like kind of jumped down my throat about it. The reason why I'd rather play Denver than Kansas City is because I don't think that Bo Nix can beat you throwing the ball 50 times.
So, where?
I don't care. I don't know why everybody's so spooked by playing in Denver.
I don't want to go to Denver. I still think I big picture agree with you.
It's like 20 years ago, the Patriots lost a playoff game in Denver, and everybody's like,
I don't want to play
Evan,
Kansas City.
historically, weird things have happened in Denver. Everybody knows that.
Weird things happen in Denver.
Look,
I keep hearing that. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't realize that like Drake Maye and Mike Vrabel had weird things happen to them in Denver.
I don't want to play Kansas City. I'm with you. I simply don't want to play Kansas City. You don't like that team. You never know. They can flip a switch. Don't want to deal with it. Wherever, here, there, wherever. Denver, if they're coming here, I'll play Denver here. It's a young team. They haven't, like, how many of these guys have experience playing at altitude? That is a factor.
They've been better on the road than at home this season.
Denver's different. Denver's different. It's not just playing on the road. There's other factors there. And that
I'm not saying that it's going to be a
some
cupcake.
places they played on the road, Miami, Tampa, like these are 50-50 crowds. That crowd.
Okay, well, they never won in Miami until they won in Miami.
Okay, that crowd was a difference. Look, we talked about this the other week. I'd rather go to Indy than Denver. Is that not like, if they have to go to, I'm not saying they can't win in Denver, but I would rather play in Indy than Denver. But I'd rather play Indy or Denver wherever than the Chiefs. The teams that are lurking are the Chiefs and the Ravens. You want them out. You want them missing if you're the Patriots.
Yeah.
You don't want them getting in the playoffs. Both of them missing, it's probably highly unlikely. One of them missing, it's on the table. I don't think, the Chiefs, they're 5-5. They've got a tough schedule coming up. They're going to have to flip. I talked about them flipping the switch. They're going to have to flip the switch now. The thing is, if they do get in, they're getting in red hot. And do you want to play a Chiefs team that suddenly has momentum? So I'm with you. I don't want to play Kansas City.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a hot take. I don't want to play Kansas City. I don't think if you have to go to Denver, I just don't think that's some like cakewalk.
Oh, I never said it was.
That's a very tough game.
I never said it was.
But if you're going to make me choose, yeah, I'd rather go to Denver than go to Kansas City.
My whole point about it is just looking at this. It's a styles wins fights kind of thing. That's what the playoffs is. It's one game and out. So it's a style wins fight kind of thing. Like, what is the matchup? And I look at the Patriots and I look at their vulnerabilities. And if you're going to be in a game against it, and I would say the Colts too, because I know they're the number one offense and everything. Daniel Jones is having this Sam Darnold, renaissance season, reclamation season, whatever you want to call it. I get that. But the way that Denver and Indianapolis win at this rate is complementary football. It's good defense. It's good run game. It's good support for the quarterback. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, I think more times than not in the playoffs, it's really passing game versus passing game. It's which quarterback plays better that day, which passing game plays better that day. And if I'm looking at the way the Patriots lose, that's the way to me the Patriots lose. It's not necessarily that Drake Maye gets out-dueled, but that their defense can't stop the other team.
But some of it is also where like this is where the location matters. You say it's passing game versus passing game. If you're in Denver or it's here or Kansas City, cold, snow, freezing rain, wind, like those, you can't just rely on your pass game in the playoffs in some of these locations.
But everybody's going to be playing in the same elements.
Right, but
like my point is just I think the way that the Patriots get tripped up in the playoffs, the way that they're built right now, is what I keep saying, is if a team is able to throw the ball 45, 50 times against them and is really good at throwing the ball that day, they're going to lose. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Because
so then you would rather play Denver than Indy?
Yes, I would.
Oh, see, I disagree with that.
Now, I would still take the Patriots in a game against Indy too, here or there.
I'd rather play Indy here or there. I'm with you. Defense carries in the playoffs, and
they have a great defense. They have a great pass
Denver
rush.
And the Colts defense, by the way, is not bad.
Middle of the pack.
It's fine. Yeah, a little more. Somewhere 10 to 15, somewhere in that range. I guess that's middle of the pack. The Denver, like a good defense, would be a real threat in the playoffs, especially when you get outside again. Like I'm going to bring up the elements. Like I'd rather play the Colts here or there.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
I don't. We talked about this, like Drake Maye in a dome. I feel pretty good about that against Daniel Jones. I don't want to go to Denver. I don't want to play Kansas City or Baltimore. But if you're going to make me choose Kansas City or Denver, I'd rather play the Broncos. But I do not feel good. I mean, I'm not saying it's a game they can't win, but I don't feel great about having to go to Denver. I certainly don't. That's, to add to it, we talk about rooting interest for Patriots fans down the stretch. Let's say the Patriots don't get the 1 seed. You're rooting for the Colts if you're a Patriots fan over the Broncos. You're absolutely rooting for the Colts to get that over the Broncos.
Yeah, I just don't know if you're a team, and I don't think that Denver's weird. Like their offense is terrible for 3 quarters and then is great in the 4th quarter every week. That's just their formula right now.
Yeah.
And the numbers back that up. Like I looked this up last night. That Bo Nix is like 26th in the league in EPA in the first 3 quarters and then like 7th in the league in the 4th quarter. It's really bizarre, their splits. But Indy only wins if they can run the ball.
Yeah.
Right? That's their formula. I would say the same thing about Jacksonville because Jacksonville's relevant. Just they might play Jacksonville.
I mean, they're in the playoffs right now.
Right.
Sit here today. They're 7th seed.
Jacksonville only wins when they run the ball. Indy, everything about Indy is off their run game. It's all Jonathan Taylor is the engine of that offense, and then they scheme up easy kind of layup throws for Daniel Jones off of Jonathan Taylor in the run game. Again, like, do you really think that Bo Nix could go against the Patriots and shred the Patriots pass defense?
No,
and actually really make that weakness a weakness.
Here's why I think Denver's so much better late in games, because the way they play these games, it's their defense. All these games are close. There's pressure on the other team. He kind of knows he just has to make 1 or 2 plays. I think he handles the pressure well. I think making 60 starts in college serves him well. But the Patriots may be able to stress that Denver defense more than other teams and put it more on Bo Nix's plate.
I would just dare.
But I'd still rather
I
play
would
the
take
Colts.
my chances daring Bo Nix to beat me in a playoff game.
Compared to Patrick Mahomes, you're saying?
Yeah, like
I mean, yeah,
but,
absolutely.
okay, well, that I was told that I was crazy for having this opinion.
I look beyond the record.
Like,
well, and here's the thing.
and that's why I don't want Mahomes. I don't want Lamar.
Yeah.
I would say, even though they're falling apart, like the Chargers, I don't want any of the good quarterbacks.
Nah, the Chargers are going to have to come here.
I don't want any of the. I would take the Patriots. in
We've
that
seen
game,
what happens when the Chargers come here in the cold. That one doesn't scare me too much.
I don't want any of the good quarterbacks because I think that is the biggest weakness on this team is the Patriots' pass defense. And I don't want any of those good quarterbacks here.
Here's the weird thing about the Chiefs to me, and this is why, if I had to guess why some people maybe reacted to your take a certain way. They look at a Chiefs team right now that's 5-5. They haven't scored more than 30 points in a game in how long? Has it been?
It's been a minute.
And so they see that and they say, well, this isn't the same old Chiefs. The Chiefs suck. They're not what they were. So get them in the playoffs and you get a weakened version of that team. If the Chiefs really are that, they're not going to make the playoffs and it won't be an issue. If the Chiefs get in the playoffs because of where they are right now, 5-5, the 9th seed in the AFC, I almost said in the East, in the AFC, well, then they started playing better. And then they clearly are closer to the team they've been the last few years. So, yeah, ideally, yes, I would love to play a bad Chiefs team in the playoffs. That would be great because they're a bad team. That's an important qualifier. If the Chiefs get in the playoffs, they're not going to be the bad version of themselves because they had to win games here to get down the stretch. They had to make a run. Right. The question, are they 2018 Patriots or are they 2019 Patriots?
Right.
But even if it's not, like, they're...
The 19 Patriots are undefeated at this point.
19's probably a bad example,
No, are they like the 2009 Patriots?
Are they the team that just falls off at the end? If they're bad enough that I'm comfortable playing them, let me put it this way. If the Chiefs are playing bad enough football at the end of the year that I'd be comfortable playing them, odds are they're not in the playoffs to begin with.
Yeah. All right. We have some more takes about this AFC playoff picture. I want to talk a little bit more about some of these games, but we have to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
With FedEx One Rate, you can ship to your student for a simple, predictable flat rate. Send a box full of home-baked treats that say, "Your father and I miss you." Or send a box full of instant noodles that says, "Your father and I would like you to stop asking us for money." Either way, one rate fits all. FedEx One Rate. 2-day shipping, one flat rate. Starting at $14.50. Visit FedEx.com/OneRate for details. Exclusions apply.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
Catch-22.
Catch-22.
Bars, have you gotten an early start on your holiday shopping yet?
Oh, yeah.
No, you haven't.
I know what I want to get. I haven't physically gone out and bought it yet, but I know what I'm going to get people.
Anxious to kick off your holiday shopping? You don't have to wait until Black Friday to score big on your favorite styles when you shop Bob's Discount Furniture. Bob's is unboxing unbeatable values every Friday in November, and this week we're highlighting game day ready modular sectionals starting at just $250 a piece, so you can turn a ho-hum living room into your home team HQ. So stop in or shop online to save big all month long at Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. And hey, Patriots fans, this month celebrate Veterans Day with a new snowblower from Aaron's during their Heroes and Holidays sales event. Now through December 3rd, you can save $100 on select models this winter. Let the king of snow help to clear your driveway so you have more to support your team. Aaron's the official snowblower of the New England Patriots. Visit www.aarons.com to find your Aaron's. It's Aaron's, even though it's spelled Arians, like Bruce Arians.
Okay.
It's pronounced Aaron's, I believe. So I'm going to go with that pronunciation. A few other things about these games this weekend. It was fun to watch some of this other football this weekend. I just have to vent about this. I thought Tampa Bay, the Bills were who we thought they were, and they let them off the hook, man.
Yeah, that was
the Bucks just
painfully conservative.
It was painful. 3 different times, Todd Bowles went against the math and punted the football back to Buffalo.
Went against common sense and punted the ball back.
And got burned all 3 times. I felt myself sitting there watching this game with the Bucks and just thankful that the Patriots have Mike Vrabel and Stretch running the show on these decisions, because the Patriots would never have punted the ball back on 4th and 2 to Josh Allen in a 5-point game midway through the 4th quarter.
Well enough to remember when you were worried about the dinosaur Hardo football coach.
I know. Well, I didn't really know too much about John Stryker at that point.
We're not familiar with his game.
I wasn't familiar with Stryker.
You just can't have Josh Allen throwing chest passes out of his own end zone and let the Bills beat you.
So they punted the ball back to Buffalo with I think it was like 6 or 7 minutes left, 4th and 2.
Yeah.
From like about their 40. So I'll give
just
them
behind midfield.
Yeah, like they were on their side of the field. I'll give them that. But they punt the ball back to Josh Allen. Their defense hasn't stopped Josh Allen basically all day, except for the very beginning of the game.
They hadn't stopped him in the second half.
And Josh Allen takes the ball. He goes 8 plays, 75 yards, touchdown, game over. Warm up the buses. And like, thanks for coming, Todd Bowles. So I was obviously, like every Patriots fan probably, rooting really hard for the Bucks to win that game against the Bills, and I thought the Bucks kind of gave that game away. I thought they had the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, they were the better team for most of that game, but also, what does it say about where the Bills are as a whole? Josh Allen had to account for 6 touchdowns basically by himself, and they still barely beat a Tampa team that was trying to hand them the game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't...
Well, the Bills' defense has issues.
No, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you come out of that, if you're a Bills fan, you feel good. Look, Josh Allen played horribly the first quarter and then was awesome.
Yeah.
Credit where credit's due. How do you feel about the rest of the roster, guys not named Josh Allen, after that game?
Not great.
No.
I didn't think they ran the ball particularly well either, outside of the Josh Allen runs. Like, I thought that the Bucks did a decent job.
Their
against
handoff
James
run
Cook.
game has not been as good the last couple weeks, I think. The one guy I do that Tyrell Shavers guy's not bad.
Yeah,
he gets open. He's got some size. He's like...
Now, they were playing without Kincaid, who's, I think, not going to play tomorrow night, Thursday night for them either.
Yeah.
So he's dealing with an injury. The Bills' defense, their run defense and their coverage on running backs. I mean, your boy Sean Tucker had the game of his life.
Sean Tucker's a good back, man. I tried to tell you.
Might be good. He had the game of his life, though, or the breakout game of his life, I should say. And their interior run defense got shredded by A-Chain the week before.
Yeah.
It got shredded by Tucker this week.
Yeah.
That Bills defense has some problems.
Travion Henderson.
So yeah.
Oh no, wait, wrong game. Sorry, never mind. I was thinking of the Bucks.
Well, I'm thinking that Travion Henderson will do that to them in week 15.
Yeah, no, it'd be great. Yeah, look, again, I'm making sure I'm saying this so that people interpret this right. Josh Allen, after 2 really bad passes, played really well. He had to play at a historic level.
It's big of you that you have to put the context in there, because not everybody does put those, his first couple of drives in there.
He had to play at a historic level for them. I know they win by 10, I think, ultimately. Was it 44-34?
2 scores.
But there was a late garbage time. Josh Allen to give them a historic game for them to barely beat a Tampa team that, again, was kind of trying to give the game away. It doesn't bode well long term, because that game's not sustainable that Josh Allen had. He's not going to do that every week.
So that's how this has been Buffalo's biggest problem. And I say this as somebody that comes at it and everybody calls me a closet Bills fan. So like, this is
not super closet,
right? So this is coming from not a you place of just constant negativity towards the Bills. The biggest issue for the Bills year in and year out is that they need Josh Allen to wear the Superman cape a little bit too much. Like they need him.
That's what I'm saying.
In order to go on the run that they want to go on, he needs to play like he did on Sunday against Tampa. And maybe not score 40, but he needs to play a great
Well, with this
game.
defense, he might have
He needs to play a great game.
Yeah.
And when you get into the playoffs and you play good defenses and you play good teams, it's hard to string together 3-4 peak games in a row.
Right.
That's not easy to do. And they have not been able to lift him up enough. Their coaching staff, their front office, that fan base is starting to turn. Not on Allen.
A little bit on Allen, honestly.
Yeah, but I think they realize that this is systemic and that this is like bigger than Josh Allen. And they're not going to move on from Josh Allen. Like this is their quarterback for the next 10 years. Like no one's arguing
he wants
that.
to move on.
McDermott and Brandon Beane are in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
They're and I know they won the game and we're talking about
they
it. Like
should have fired McDermott 2 years ago. But that's the thing. They have these expectations now.
If they lose the division and then lose in the wild card round in the first round and they're a one and done team, I have a hard time believing that they survive that.
No, I had a hard time believing it the last 2 times, and they did. So we'll see.
But that was different. They won the division.
Every
They were
time
the
we've
best
said it was
teams in the
different.
league. This time's different. And I think that the biggest thing too with those two guys is they both came from Carolina 10 years ago together. Like this is a package deal.
Right.
Like Beane is McDermott's guy and McDermott is Beane's guy. So I don't think you can have one without the other. I don't think this is going to be a Giant situation where
but
fire
they've
they've
both
GM.
had missteps.
Yeah.
It's not like it's funny. I think the Giants and Dolphins got their firings backwards.
Yeah.
The Dolphins fired their GM, kept their head coach, even though they had some talent on that roster. They just didn't know how to use it. Whereas the Giants, I thought, had a good head coach, but he had nothing to work with. And so they keep the guy that, moved on from Saquon Barkley only to pay Sterling Shepard. And, yeah, I thought that they got those backwards. But you're right. In Buffalo, it's probably a full cleaning of the house.
We'll see. Well, I know we're talking about that after they won a game, but Josh Allen went nuclear, and that's how they win.
But I'm glad we're
When he
talking
goes
about it, because
nuclear,
this is
he
my
wins.
whole point about the Bills, and this is why they annoy me. We treated them so long like the little engine that could when they were clearly supposed to be more.
Yeah.
And now you want to be the kings of the AFC. This is how we're going to talk about you. You're going to get ripped after you win a game because you didn't win it by enough. Happened to the Patriots plenty.
So we talked a little bit about Kansas City, Denver already. Kansas City, I know right now the hot topic is whether or not Kansas City is going to make the playoffs. It's legitimate conversation. They
Very legitimate conversation.
They have a tough road. Their streak of 9 straight division titles is definitely over. I know it's not technically mathematically over yet, but it's over.
Do you know there was one mathematically thing that happened in the standings this week? Went very under the radar.
What was it?
The Titans got eliminated from the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Officially.
The Jets could get eliminated from the playoffs this week. Kansas City.
But even the 2-9 Giants are still alive.
We talked a little bit
out.
about Kansas City and Denver. Baltimore and Cleveland, I thought was an interesting game. Cleveland has 0 offense.
Yeah.
Shador was Shador in the second half.
Didn't start this week.
You don't expect him to play well in that spot, but he did not play well. And the Ravens have won 4 straight games. And so now they're kind of climbing back into this. They're coming back into the AFC North.
Well, the Ravens are also, the Ravens were weird because they weren't bad. They're not like the Texans or the Chiefs, who were losing, who were like outright losing games. They didn't have their starting quarterback and their backup quarterbacks aren't good.
Yeah.
So, even they're more like the Bengals.
They just,
I don't want to see Baltimore in the playoffs.
Neither do I. But Lamar threw 2 picks in this game.
Yeah.
He was not efficient in this game. There's still something weirdly off about, like, the Ravens are kind of in the similar category as Kansas City, where that switch could flip in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But for right now, it doesn't feel like it's their year.
The Browns defense is good, though. The Browns defense is pretty good.
It's good, but when Lamar is Lamar is ripping apart the Browns defense, especially with the amount of opportunities he gets because the Browns can't score and can't move the ball. It was just, again, like Baltimore won the game. They're taking care of business. They've won 4 in a row. He did not look like Lamar. He looked a little rusty, I thought. It still didn't look totally like himself.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Jaguars?
I don't know. They're kind of there. They're fine. They don't play consistent.
They're not going to win the division, so that kind of hurts.
Yeah,
them.
I can't get worked up about. Like, they're not bad. I don't think they're bad.
There's
they're
a very good chance that they're the Patriots round one
certainly
opponent.
not good. Remember when they played? Was it 07 that they played him here, and it was like, hey, the Jags are good again, and it was this fun little story, and they blew the doors off them.
That was definitely during the first part of the dynasty.
I think it was 07.
They played him again earlier because I was at the game.
Oh, maybe that's
it was
what
like
it was.
it was like 10
It was
degrees.
David Garrard, and
Yeah, it was freezing.
yeah, it's kind of one of those teams. We're like, all right, they have their weeks, and that's nice, and they've played kind of an easier schedule.
Yeah, they run the ball well.
I'm not convinced that you know who
Tootin running all over the place.
You know who does actually a team I am fascinated with at this point is the Texans.
We'll get to them in a second.
Oh, okay.
Really quickly on the Jaguars, because I want to just take a second with the Jaguars, because if it were to start today,
Yeah, that would be the matchup.
that would be the matchup. I know it doesn't, but if it did, then it would be Patriots Jaguars here at Gillette in round one of the playoffs. They run the ball really well.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things that has changed for them in Jacksonville is they've stopped trying to make Trevor Lawrence the engine of the offense.
Right.
And they've kind of turned the offense over to the running game, and then they sprinkle Trevor Lawrence in there. So now their team is a lot more balanced. It's a lot more kind of built like Indy, where it's good running game, play action, move the pocket, scheme up, easy plays for Trevor Lawrence, and not ask Trevor Lawrence to drop back 45 times and be an MVP. And they've been able to do that. Now, in this game and in every single game recently, Justin Herbert has just been absolutely under siege. The Colts have had Chargers have had all sorts of injuries on their offensive line. They can't block anybody, the Chargers. So they made Justin Herbert look very ordinary in this game. But I think a lot of that has to do with the Chargers more than it does with Jacksonville's
That's a
defense.
West Coast team going east.
Yep, that was a factor I should have played in there. But Jacksonville can run the football. They play in that same, Liam Cohn did it in Tampa. It's a West Coast offense. It's McVay, Shanahan-ish, and they just play in that same system where it's like the quarterback is kind of, some weeks the quarterback just kind of turns into a passenger and is just there to hit the right button on the controller and not screw anything up.
Yeah, I mean they've also kind of struggled. Brian Thomas falling off has hurt them a lot. I think they're counting on him to take a jump. Who's hurt?
Travis Hunter.
So that was their first regular. I know it's not hockey, but that was their first win in regulation since they beat the Chiefs in Week 5. They're 2-3 since that game. One of those wins was an overtime win against Vegas, which is not a good team. So they got a nice little bump at the beginning of the season. I feel like they're trending in the wrong direction. Even with that win, I feel like they're and look, they'll get a little momentum here. They're at the Cardinals, they're at the Titans the next 2 weeks, but they still got to play the Colts twice. They still got to play the Broncos. We'll see where they end up.
So you mentioned Houston.
Yeah, so Houston, I'm kind of starting to get to the point too with Houston where I'm like, I don't really want to see Houston in the playoffs.
Great defense.
It's a great defense. Great defense. Good teams can win with backup quarterbacks. I don't mean this against CJ Stroud, but they're 2-0 with Davis Mills.
Yeah.
Good teams find ways to win
They did beat the Titans.
Okay, but good teams find ways to win with backup quarterbacks.
Yeah. It's a good defense.
They've got size in their passing game. Dalton Schultz is very involved. Nico Collins is a big receiver. Xavier Hutchinson's a big guy. Patriots have struggled with that, with some of these bigger receiver cores. I'd still probably take the Patriots against them, especially if it's up here. And Houston's probably not winning the division, but we talk about the teams that are figuring it out, the teams we expected to be better that aren't, that are figuring it out. Houston's figuring it out more than Kansas City is, I would say.
Houston has it, they're not winning as much, but they have a similar formula to Denver. They have a great defense, great pass rush, and they get, if they get clutch, timely quarterback play and from their offense, then they're going to win games.
So they were, to kind of look at recently, so they started bad. They were bad to start season. They started 0-3. They're 5-2 since, and their only losses are at Seattle, which is a tough game.
Yeah.
And Seattle's a really good team.
Yep.
And then they had a 3-point loss to the Broncos.
Yeah.
But they've blown doors against pretty much everybody else. They're trending in the right direction. They're absolutely trending in the right direction.
No Stroud again on Thursday Night Football against the Bills. It'd be Davis Mills.
Oh, it sucks.
So
this will be a big one for them. This will be
if they hang with Buffalo or beat Buffalo, then they're going in the right direction.
You ready for this? Their next 3 games. We're going to find out just how real they are next 3 games.
Yeah.
Home against Buffalo, but it's a short week. Then at Indy. Then at Kansas City.
I'm really interested to see this game, even with Davis Mills for the Bills, because the Bills have not traveled well this year. Their offense has not scored on the road.
Have you seen the conspiracy theory on Twitter that the Bills never play on the road?
They don't travel well on the road.
No. This is one of my favorite things on social media.
Yeah.
There's this one guy that constantly points out, like, and it does feel like it. When he points it out, you see it.
When they play in big games in prime time, they're at home.
Can you think of every time you see Bills highlights on the timeline, it's at home. You never see Bills highlights on the road.
Because I think their biggest games are usually at home.
So that's part of it, and I think it's a recency bias thing. They play 4 of their next 5 games on the road. Their schedule was front loaded with home games. But I don't know. I just get a kick out of that. Like, there was a clip of the Bills this week. Somebody was like, again, the guy just posed like, again, every single week with this.
So I think they average something like 6 points a game less on the road than they do at home. So this will be an interesting game in Houston because that's a great defense. Home road split. It would tell you with that and the great defense and the short week.
Yeah.
And it does sound like no Kincaid again. That this would be a game that would be a little bit of a slog for Buffalo.
This is going to sound crazy. Who's a bigger loss, Kincaid or Stroud?
Stroud, but Kincaid's a good player.
It's a gap closer than maybe people would realize. Well, because Davis Mills is playing well. Again, it's nothing against Stroud, but Davis Mills is playing well.
He's playing all right.
For a backup, he's playing well.
Yeah. Last one here, kind of segue into talking a little bit about the Bengals. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. I still kind of come away from watching this Pittsburgh team and just think that Aaron Rodgers is just kind of blah every time I watch him.
Well, he's going to be playing with a broken wrist now, too.
It just doesn't blow me away when, in this game against Cincinnati in the first half, I didn't think he was great in this game. And the numbers back it up. They were much better in the second half with Mason Rudolph than they were in the first half with Aaron Rodgers. He's causing a lot of pressure. He's kind of a sitting duck back there, and he's under siege a lot in some of these games. They are like one of those weird offenses too, where they have guys that have great build-up speed, but outside of Calvin Austin, they don't have a lot of guys that have instant speed. So like their offense is kind of slow for 10 yards.
Yeah. And
then once Darnell Washington and DK Metcalf get the train rolling, like then those guys can build up speed and pick up speed down the field. I don't know what to make of Pittsburgh. They're the Tomlin Steelers through and through. They're going to go like 9-8, 10-7 like they do every single year. I think they're kind of a paper tiger, but who the hell knows? It's the same thing with the Steelers. If I was the Steelers, though, regardless of this Rodgers injury, because I don't think he was playing particularly great before the injury either. You're looking over your shoulder at Baltimore, and you're worried that Baltimore is coming for the division.
How awesome was that Darnell Washington catch and run, though? Oh, that was so cool.
But
I love Darnell Washington.
Like, it's a lot of multiple tight ends.
No, I agree with everything you said.
It's a lot of Metcalf. Like I just was watching the first half on film of the Steelers Bengals, and I was like, this is the historically bad Bengals defense everybody keeps telling me about. There was nobody open for 2 quarters.
I see what the Steelers want to be. They're not good enough defensively. They basically want to be the Broncos.
Yeah.
They're not good enough defensively to be that team.
They turned the ball over.
Also, season-ending knee surgery for Michael Penix.
Yeah, that's tough. I have some Falcons takes. I don't know if we're gonna have time for it today, but the Steelers. I don't know if I had to pick it right now, I'd pick the Ravens to win that division. I think the Ravens are gonna come back and win the division.
I think so too. Well, I guess real quick here is that all the AFC games we're gonna talk about?
Yeah.
Who do you like in the NFC right now? Just big picture. We don't have to break down all the big games, but I mean, we got Rams, Seahawks.
I like the Rams. I think the Rams defense is legit.
Really good football.
Obviously, you have McVay and Stafford, and Puka, and Adams on offense. Kyron Williams. Like I think that's a really talented team. I think they're the best team in the NFC, and I'm not just saying that because they just beat Seattle.
No, I think they are too.
I would just trust their infrastructure more than Seattle's. McVay has been there. Stafford has been there. We still haven't seen Darnold win a meaningful game. He cleans up against all these crappy teams. The second that he plays a meaningful game, he craps his pants. Turns back into Jets Sam Darnold.
How worried should Philly be? Something doesn't look right. I know they're winning, but something doesn't look right.
Well, their defense has been great. And, Vic Fangio is awesome. Yeah. And their defense has been great. But it's going to be hard to win in the playoffs with that kind of offense. And I think the biggest difference for Philly is that they're not running the ball like they did last year.
No.
And Barkley's not having the same kind of season as he had last year. and their offensive line has taken a step back. And now Lane Johnson has a Liz Frank injury. Like those are hard injuries.
Yeah.
Those are bad ones. Like that could linger. He could be out a while. So they're not physical. Like they're not people moving on the offensive line like they were last year. There's just something off about that run game. I know a lot of people think that they need to run Hurts more, but I think they're kind of saving that for the higher stakes games later on in the season. Right now they're AJ Brown. This is a little bit of a hot take, but I'd be a little bit buyer beware on AJ Brown. I love AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown's been one of my favorite players in the league for years now. It doesn't look great, and I know the system doesn't help him, and like the scheme is not helping him a ton. But he used to be one of the best go ball receivers in the league, and he's just not anymore.
Is that, he's 28 years old. He's not that old.
And yeah,
is that a physical thing or is it a mental thing? This is a bad comp. I hate to use it, but it just came to my head. Is he Randy Moss in Vegas?
Sure.
Or in Oakland? Maybe,
but I just watch him and I don't think he moves very well as well, I should say, as he used to.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I don't see the same burst. I don't see the same explosion. He used to be a go ball and slant automatic. And he would sequence those off of each other, and you didn't know if it was a go or if it was a slant. And then he'd catch and run on those slants, and he would just be out, right? Like he would just be gone. And now you watch them run their offense, and like these corners are just sitting all over these slant routes. Like he's got no separation. It's not a hot take to say Devontae Smith is the better receiver now. Like he absolutely is. Like that's no longer a hot take to say that. So if I was the Eagles, I would just be worried that your stars aren't starring right now on offense.
Just
Brown, Barkley, Hurts, like those guys are not playing to their superstardom at the moment.
Just need him to show up week 17.
Yeah, that's
against
true.
the Bills.
All right, let's get to these phones, and then we'll talk a little bit of Bengals. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. Patty is in Agawam. What's up, Patty?
What is up, gentlemen?
Hey.
How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Wanted to go over a couple things with you guys. First things first, with Milton Williams being out, I don't know if you guys remember a player by the name of Jarvis Green.
Yes.
But my first question is, can somebody like Joshua Farmer, because I don't think Tonga's more of like a nose tackle. I don't think he really fills the role that Milton Williams is going to do. Can someone like him and or Durden kind of fill in and be that Jarvis Green type of player? And my second question is, Evan, you just brought up buyer beware of A.J. Brown. I'm kind of with you on that. And listen, regardless of whether the team is good or if they're crap, I always have an eye towards the future. With the way things are going in Minnesota this year, would you try try Justin Jefferson away from the Vikings, baby? Let's go. That's the two questions. I'll take it out there, guys.
Thanks, Patty.
I mean, can we talk about that thing?
I would be surprised if the Patriots have to trade 2 first-round picks for Justin Jefferson.
I might do that.
I don't think they would.
I might. He's going to ask out of there.
Well, no one cares what you would do, Alex.
I know. Well, I'm just saying. You think he's? I legitimately wonder if he's going to ask out of there. Just separate of the Patriots.
Well, up until this, I mean, the difference is like with Darnold, like they were winning. Like they were winning games.
Yeah.
This year they're not winning as much.
He also had a quarterback that could get him the football.
Yeah, it turns out that Darnold was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this guy isn't.
Yeah. It's a fair point. And I think that if you look at it, Justin Jefferson could look at it and say, like, we had Darnold here. And,
right.
And this is the decision that you guys made in order.
And even beyond that, like, I'm in my prime. I can't wait for you to find another quarterback, and that's going to take how long? And suddenly, he's got to capitalize now if he wants to try to break records and things like that. So there was one throw that people kept posting. It was like a 3rd and medium out to Jefferson, and McCarthy just sails it. And people are like, I can't stop watching this. Where did this come from? Remember when he made that throw like 5 times at the combine?
Yeah, he can't throw left. Throwing left.
Well, that one was to the right.
I know, which is the irony is that the one that everybody's showing is actually to the right. But if you look at the numbers to the left are the bigger problem. I think and we can do a little, mini. His career's not over.
He's got time to figure it out.
I don't want to do a full victory lap on
He does
JJ
look a little
McCarthy
Zach
yet.
Wilson-y.
The thing about J.J. McCarthy that always bugged me was all of the mechanics, footwork concerns that everybody kept on, just drilling with Drake Maye, that his footwork wasn't good and this, that. J.J. McCarthy had all the same issues and maybe even like worse, overstriding, poor footwork in the pocket, inability to drive the ball outside the numbers. All of that, like that was all existed with McCarthy. And the one thing that I always stood out to me with his film in college at Michigan was that when he needed to get a little extra zip on the ball, he would overstride. So he would like really step into the throw, like exaggerated step into the throw, which told me that he didn't trust his arm.
It blows up his mechanics.
But that tells me that he doesn't trust his arm strength. So that was always concerning. Like if this guy, the only way this guy is going to be able to hit a deep out in the NFL is if he puts his entire body behind it. I don't want that with the 3rd overall pick. I want the guy with the 3rd overall pick that can hit the out off platform.
Right.
Like that's what Drake Maye can do. So I always just thought it was so weird that we talked for 6 months about Drake Maye's footwork, and then when it came to JJ McCarthy, it would just never really, like, we brought it up, but like
it was just not, people drooling over the national championship.
It was never like a part of his like big picture zeitgeist. That he had all these mechanical issues and nobody talked about it. It was weird.
Talking about him now.
All right, Eldred is in North Carolina. What's up, Eldred?
Hey, fellas, how you doing?
What's up?
Hey, Evan.
Yes, sir.
And Patty, I love you, bro. You're wrong on A.J. Brown. I think he just checked out because, like I said, they ain't using him much. I think he just checked out, because he got more talent than that. And, Evan, if the greatest of all time is 4-7 in Denver, and sometimes he went against crappy teams in Denver and they beat us, even in the playoffs, I don't want to play in Denver.
It's a great point.
Eldred, is Tom Brady playing for the Patriots?
No, somebody.
But
that's his whole point. Tom
He's
Brady's the best.
This is what I'm saying, Evan.
Okay, so Tom Brady had a thing in Denver. Tom Brady also had a thing in Miami. Drake Maye just went down to Miami and won in Miami.
Regular season game against a bad team.
He won in Miami in September. That's like something the Patriots haven't done in 10 years.
Winning in December in Miami is what they really struggle with.
No, bro. That's not in the same atmosphere. You can cut that, Evan. I'm going to disagree with you on that, man.
Okay, you can disagree with me. I'm gonna have the same take. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not. Oh, the altitude. Like, sorry. Like, I play in Denver. I'll play Denver on the moon. I don't care.
I play him on the moon than in Denver.
I trust the Patriots to beat Bo Nix. I'm sorry. Like, you know how I feel about Bo Nix. I'm not gonna do Bo Nix.
Too, bro. You gotta worry about the defense too.
Okay.
Defense is lights out.
It's great. If I only have to score 21 points, 24 points to win the game, I'm taking Drake Maye all day.
Not against that defense. I'm sorry.
What?
But,
so he can't score 20 points against Denver's defense, the MVP of the league? Come on, Eldred. Have more faith than that.
If MVP, okay, when he get MVP, I say yeah. But he is in the running. I give him that too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love the kid. I'm looking at defense, and I'm looking at what they do week in and week out against a good team, bad team, or so-so team. That defense comes to play. And Vance Joseph, he's good at disguise and stuff or whatever. But like I said, that offense, the fourth quarter, you got Sutton, you got Franklin, then you got Harvey, and then you got everybody else balling up in the fourth quarter, kicking everybody's butt.
So what happens in the first 3 quarters, Eldred?
But they're in the game too. But see, our pass coverage is scaring the hell out of me. That's what bothers me.
And you think Bo Nix is going to do something about that? Come on, Eldred.
You know what?
Come on.
If AD Mitchell had caught more, Fields would have did that. And you know it. If AD Mitchell had caught those passes, or Hitchcock didn't drop the other one, the Jets would have did it against our second.
I know. We talked about it in the first hour.
That's being true. That's being true about it. But they dropped. Sutton and Franklin ain't dropping.
Okay. Well, I guess if the Patriots play Denver, we should just not even go to the game. That's what I'm hearing.
I'm going to the game, but you're missing the whole point, bro. That'd be the harder out. Give me Indy. Give me the Chiefs.
I agree.
I'd be more scared about them coming like it was the Patriots. But I'd rather play them in New England than go to Denver and play Denver in Denver.
Okay,
if
fair.
the Bears couldn't do it, I wouldn't do it either.
Fair enough, Eldred.
All right.
Fair enough. Thanks for the
It's
call. That
not.
was
It's
fun.
like the Brady stat was funny that he brought that up. It's not a Brady thing. Like the altitude.
I know
you
Brady
can't-
lost in 05 in Denver, so now everybody or 06, whenever
The
that
altitude thing is real, especially for a young team. You're just kind of going by that a little too quickly.
Yeah, because it's an excuse.
I don't.
Oh,
It's,
and they
it's a real thing. It's a real
Because of
thing.
the altitude. It's an excuse.
It's a real thing.
Mike Vrabel won't let that be a real thing. How about that?
Well, I trust. I'm not saying they can't beat Denver in Denver. I trust them to manage it, but it's a variable I'd rather not do. And I said,
I think that
I'd rather go to Denver than play the Chiefs in any capacity. I'm with you on that. I think the difference between playing the Broncos in Denver and playing the Colts in Indy is massive. I think that is a significant difference.
But don't put words in my mouth. I said I would rather play the Colts. I said that. I just don't. I'm not afraid of Denver. They have a great defense. I don't think that the Patriots are going to lose in the playoffs because their offense gets totally shut down against a great defense. I don't think that's going to be why they get punched out. I think they're going to get punched out by a team that they can't stop. I have a lot of confidence in Drake Maye and Josh McDaniels to find ways to score points. I do. So I'm not concerned about that. Now, Denver with the altitude. I'm going to come on your side of the street for a second with this.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk about the Bengals. If there's any sort of thing that I have a lot of confidence in Mike Vrabel in, it's that sort of thing.
So
it's figuring out, let's not get psyched out by the altitude. Let's adjust to it. Let's figure it out. Like maybe they go down there Friday or something like that and get there a day early and practice on Saturday or do their walkthrough on Saturday in the altitude. Like those types of things when it comes to sort of like, I don't know, like the gamesmanship, right? Altitude, road environments, like things like that, you know, the heat down in Miami. Like I have so much confidence that Mike Vrabel is not going to get beat in the playoffs by Denver because of the altitude. They might get beat by Denver because they play a game and they get beat straight up. I don't think that Mike Vrabel is going to allow the altitude to be the reason.
I trust them to be as ready for it as possible, but it's a factor.
So speaking of putting words in my mouth, this is one of my biggest pet peeves, Alex.
Also, real quick, Stanley Morgan moved on to the next round of Hall of Fame voting.
Good for him. And I mean that sincerely. His picture is up here somewhere. It's behind
It's down here, yeah.
Yeah.
He should be in.
Yeah. This is probably out of all the pet peeves that I have, and you know I'm a pet peeve kind of guy. Like these things tend to bother me. This is number one on my list. When you put words into my mouth, which yesterday I think Fred did on the show on PU, which then made everybody think that I said this when I did not say this. So yesterday when we were talking about this, this is from Kyle. He says, my feathers were ruffled because you called the KC game a one and done loss and you said it was a guaranteed loss and then backpedaled. Roll the tape. I never called it a guaranteed loss. Never said it. Never did. Never once. I said I didn't want anything to do with Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. That's a fact. I don't want anything to do with Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. The word guaranteed loss never came out of my mouth. I never said that. I actually would probably still pick the Patriots in that game based off of what we've seen from Kansas City. But if you are telling me that you would not be terrified to play Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL, in the wild card round after the season that you just had, like that would be a stinky way to go out. And it would be stinky that you were the number 2 seed in the conference and your draw was to play the best quarterback in the NFL, who also happens to be probably the best winning playoff quarterback that's active right now in the league. Like that would stink. Like you had this great season. You won 13, 14 games in the regular season and your prize is to play Patrick Mahomes in the Kansas City Chiefs on wild card round in a wild card weekend. I would hate that. Never said it would be a guaranteed loss though. Never once said it. Roll the tape.
Little update here.
Yes.
The Bengals have designated Mike Gesicki to return to practice.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit of Bengals. No Chase in this game.
Yep.
So my,
Can't be spitting on people.
Fair enough. I am big on seeing how they match up in this game because even without Chase, now it would have been more fun with Chase, but even without Chase, I do think that there are some mismatch body types, let's call it that, in this game. So obviously, and I don't mean to pick on him, but Marcus Jones is kind of the guy we're talking about here. Whether it's T. Higgins or it's Yoshivas, either way, Marcus Jones is at a size disadvantage against those two players. So my number one thing on the list here for the Patriots is just how do you go about making sure that the Bengals can't formationally scheme up ways to get Marcus Jones isolated on one of those bigger receivers. And then you just play, you just rebound in basketball and you box out and you win jump balls down the field. To me, that's how the Patriots, this game unravels for the Patriots. I think it's big for the Patriots and their defense and their coaching staff on defense. They should be able to devise a plan to take T. Higgins out of this game. T. Higgins should not be a big-time factor in this game. How would you do it? Would you put Gonzo on T. Higgins and just call it a day? Or would you double T. Higgins with Carlton Davis and safety help, put Gonzo on Yoshivas and do it that way?
Because they're going to try to use Higgins so vertically, probably Davis with help.
I feel the same way.
And then Gonzalez on Yoshivas. Although, I was going to say maybe we get into the whole does a corner cover a tight end thing again this week. But that's just not going to happen. I'm going to give that one up.
That's the way that I look at it. I think this is a classic double the number one and put your number two,
but I also think
your number
you're
one
right
on the number two.
They are probably going to run Higgins in the slot, which is going to make that a little more difficult. Honestly, what I might do is, because Gonzalez has more experience covering guys in the slot than Davis does. I don't know how much Davis has done that in his career. Because he hasn't played on defenses where he's traveled in that sense a lot, if I'm remembering correctly. I mean, there's a lot of plays there. I haven't seen all of them. But would it almost be one where it's Gonzalez on Higgins in the slot and then Davis with help when he's outside?
You could do that. You could do that.
Covering from the slot it's a different animal.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much experience Davis has of that in his career.
I just look at, I don't think Yoshivas is Jamar Chase by any means, but I don't think he's a slouch either.
If they beat you throwing to Andre Yoshivas,
well, that's how they're going to have to beat you.
Right, but if they beat you, if that guy is 120 yards, you tip your cap.
I'm not saying they beat you that way, but the game, that's their formula. Is they're
well,
gonna,
no, they want to throw the ball to Higgins.
But they're gonna what I mean by their formula is that they're gonna try to find ways to get T. Higgins and Yoshivas on Marcus Jones. Either one of those guys is gonna try. They're gonna try to find ways, whether it's lining them up in the slot or what have you, to get their bigger receivers on Marcus Jones and away from Gonzalez and Davis. That's going to be.
That's why I would do more aggressive traveling if I'm the Patriots in this game.
Agreed.
Carlton Davis, how many NFL seasons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In 8 NFL seasons, Carlton Davis has played 380 snaps in the slot. In what is essentially 2.5 seasons, Christian Gonzalez has played 186. So Christian Gonzalez has almost played half as many slots as Carlton, the slot snaps as Carlton Davis in significantly fewer games.
You got to be careful with that. You got to be careful with the matchups here. Marcus Jones has other guys he can cover.
Yeah.
Because they're going to probably have to put Charlie Jones on the field in 3 receiver sets.
Well, I also wonder if they because Gesicki's I don't think people realize how good Gesicki was for them last year.
He's a receiver.
He was a good player for them, and Noah Fant's been good. They got Noah Fant. So do they just run without Chase, given how much, if I'm the Bengals, right? If this is Bengals Catch-22, if we're in Trag shoes, I think we're talking about, well, they can't cover tight ends. Gesicki might be back. They're down Chase anyway. Just run a ton of 12.
Yeah, I think they probably will. Now,
and in that case, you just keep Marcus Jones off the field.
The other thing that I think is interesting with
play more base and make Dan Orlovsky happy.
The other thing that I think that's interesting about the Bengals, when I was digging into them this week, Chase Brown's a pretty good back.
Yeah, he is.
And he's a very good pass catching back, but I think he's a pretty good back overall. They're very good running the football. They just don't run the football. And maybe that's because they're down in some of these games. Maybe it's game script or whatever. But right now they are, I want to say, second in the league in EPA, rush EPA, in the entire NFL. They are last in the league in rush frequency, how often they call runs. They're throwing the football almost 70% of the time. With Burrow or Flacco, the numbers are stagnant.
They rank second in the league in pass attempts, 32nd in rush attempts.
It's bizarre because their run game is not terrible. And Chase Brown's a good player. Now, maybe he's more of a scat back than a true downhill between the tackles back. And maybe they need a complement to Chase Brown to be able to do that. But, the book, and this is with Chase, so I'll put that caveat on there. But the book that's been forming against this Flacco iteration of the Bengals is, all right, we're just going to play 2 high safeties. We're going to put 1 safety over Chase. We're going to put 1 safety over Higgins. Joe Flacco's not going anywhere, so we don't have to worry about him scrambling. And we know you're not going to run the ball. So we can play with lighter boxes. We can play without the safety down because we know that you're not going to run it. And so do they kind of, in this game, now you said it with the 12 personnel. That's kind of where I was going to. I do wonder if they try to run the ball a little bit more in this game without Chase. All of these things, and I'm going to take a little shot here. Sorry, Trags. But all these little things point to Zach Taylor being a good coach. And I'm not sure Zach Taylor is a good
I also
coach.
am not sure about that.
So is Zach Taylor going to game plan the Patriots the way that they should? Zach Taylor, to me, is one of the more interesting case studies of like talent versus coaching. I think Zach Taylor has been propped up by the talent on this roster for multiple years now. Every single time I watch their offense, I'm like, you guys don't do nearly enough with the weapons that you have. They come out, they're an 11 personnel team. They're top 5 in the league and how often they have 3 receivers on the field. Now, when you have Higgins and Chase, I get that you're going to be 11 heavy. But they come out, they play 11 personnel at a league high rate. They play shotgun at a league high rate. And they motion at a league low rate. So they basically do none of the things that coordinators do nowadays to like get guys open and like play games with defenses. And they do none of it. And because they have T. Higgins and they have Jamar Chase, they just score points because they have great players on offense. So now that he's on his backup quarterback and he doesn't have his star receiver, does Zach Taylor actually prove me wrong?
Why would he change now?
I don't know.
Should you have Trags call in and ask him?
I'm just asking because that's the big thing with me. Every time I watch this Bengals team, I'm underwhelmed by their scheme offensively. You know, I mentioned lack of run rate, lack of heavy personnel groupings, lack of under center. Those 3 things are like the things that teams are doing now in the league. They're throwing the ball out of heavy personnel. They're playing under center. Like the best offenses in the league are doing all these things. And the Bengals do none of it.
The highest under center rates are like Rams, Seahawks, Patriots, Bills.
Yeah.
And there's another one.
Lions.
You sent me the list. Lions. Yep.
It's back. That
I love it.
Under
I love
center,
it, by the way.
12 personnel, 2 tight end, under center, play action, quick game, running the football. That's the league now. It's back.
This is
and the
what
Bengals do
makes
none of it.
So great. It's all cyclical. All right. Offenses are going to go smaller, ton of 11 personnel, these little shifty wide receivers. Fine. We're going to counter with 215-pound linebackers and playing 3, 4, 5 defensive backs at a time. And then the offense go, oh, you're going to build your defense like that? Here comes 21 and 12 personnel right up the gut.
Yeah.
And eventually it's crazy. The 240-pound linebacker is going to come back, and it's all cycle. And one day we'll get back to the veer and the triple option. Eventually it'll correct that.
Well, Baltimore does plenty of
That's
that.
true. Yeah,
Baltimore
kind of did that.
Yeah, it's crazy though. The the Bengals they are a spread gun team. Whether it's Joe Burrow or Joe Flacco, it doesn't matter. Like I tried to look at this week. I was like, all right, there must be splits, right? They must be under center more with Joe Flacco. Nope. They're still in the shotgun 80% of the time, even with old man 40-year-old Joe Flacco. It blows my mind. Anyways, on the Bengals defense, according to DVOA, this is the worst defense maybe in the history of the NFL.
So to use real numbers, there has never been a team that has finished last in the NFL in rushing yards allowed, passing yards allowed, and points allowed. The Bengals currently are last in points allowed, last in rushing yards allowed. They're 31st in passing yards allowed. So maybe Drake Maye helps tip them over the top there, but like this legitimately could be the worst defense of all time.
They are, in my numbers, the nerd numbers.
Yeah.
They are last in DVOA. They're last in EPA. They're last in, I did throw a couple of your stats in there. Last in yards allowed. Last in points allowed. Like, this is a horrible defense.
I think you just
they're last in everything.
You're right. Whatever, we can pull out whatever number we want.
It is super rare that you find that teams, though, like the counting
it's
stats.
Also that stat I said before, Super Bowl era. Finishing last and all that stuff.
A lot of the times the counting stats and the efficiency, sometimes you have a little bit of discrepancy there where, like, they're in a lot of blowouts, so they, giving up a lot of yards, but it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Like, no, this Bengals team is bad in the advanced metrics and they're bad in the
No, I'm looking at this here. The only thing that they're not ranked like dead last in, they're 11th in the league in interception. They've got 8 interceptions. Beyond that, passing yards allowed 31st, passing touchdowns allowed 32nd, rushing yards allowed 32nd, rushing touchdowns allowed 26th, rushing yards per attempt 30th, passing yards per attempt 31st. Their turnover percentage is actually very low. It's 23rd. So they have a lot of interceptions, but teams have They're even last in plays ran against them.
Yeah.
They're
so they're the biggest thing, and look, you could, as we're laying out here for you, you could kind of do whatever you want against this Bengals defense.
So here's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
I've been asked a lot, is this the week Drake Maye goes for over 300 yards?
Sure.
For as bad as it's been, they've only allowed more than 300 passing yards in a game once. Oh, okay. So I read that wrong. Sorry. They've had some 300-yard passers where I think yards have come off with sacks.
Well, I just wonder what happens, they're down by
So
3.
that's the thing, because I think teams look at it and say, well, we can run against you.
The fourth quarter.
So why even,
yeah.
I don't even know if it's the fourth quarter. Is it, well, we can run against you, and running is inherently less risky than passing. So why would we pass?
So I think the biggest thing with this Bengals defense, though, when you watch them on tape, they don't know where to line up. If I'm the Patriots, and look again, you can probably just do whatever you could probably just run your offense and score against this Bengals defense. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but at the same time, when I watch them on tape, I see a lot of pointing, hand palms up, busted coverages all over the place. They have a first-year defensive coordinator, Al Golden, first year with the Bengals. It came from Notre Dame. I was on that staff the year before that went to the national championship game. And it just seems like it's a defense that doesn't know its rules, doesn't know what it wants to do against certain things like motion and are we passing? Are we traveling with motion? When we get into, stacks and bunches, how are we sorting those types of things out? Are we playing, man? Are we, zoning it out? What are we doing? So if I'm the Patriots and I'm Josh McDaniels, I am just throwing the kitchen sink of the high level football stuff at them, because I don't think that they're going to be able to. I think I would play a bunch of mind games with them.
Yeah.
Motions, stacks, bunches, different formations, different personnel groupings, just put their mind in an absolute blender, because I don't think they're going to be able to sort through it.
You know who the only quarterback is to throw for over 300 yards on the Bengals this year?
Who?
We've talked about him quite a bit on the show.
Bo Nix?
Yes. Threw for 326 yards against him in week 4.
Yeah. So I think that this is one of those weeks where you can outsmart, outwit, out-sophisticate
whatever
the Bengals defense. You can really put their minds in pretzels. You can really mess with them, especially their linebackers.
They can't tackle.
Yeah, they're one of the worst tackling defenses.
So you could also just run the ball and dare them to bring you down.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Throw the ball and let's warm up the buses. You get this to be 21-7, 24-7 at halftime, the game's over.
Well, then you start running the ball and they can't tackle.
They not only do they not tackle, they don't swarm very well either. So they're last in the league in missed tackle rate. They're also last in the league in yards allowed off of missed tackles. So they're not only the first guy doesn't get the guy down, nobody gets the guy down.
Right.
So they are getting killed by running backs.
We're generally, just in case anybody's wondering, we're generally a pretty level-headed show. I don't know that we've ever talked about a team, and even the opponents, we've covered some bad Jets offenses, and I don't know that we've ever talked about a team like this. Or a unit of a team like this.
Because it's historically bad.
Is this, we've been doing this since 2018. Is this the worst unit that we've ever studied?
My memory's not good enough, but it's there's
obviously some bad Jets teams in there.
It just is, you know what it is it's they're not very coordinated very well. I'll just say it that way.
All right.
And so it's not so much that they have talent issues, but normally when you go into these types of games, I can at least say, oh, that guy's a good player. This guy's a good player. I could probably do that with some of the players. Now, Trey Hendrickson's not going to play, but they don't have a ton of talent that I can point to. DJ Turner, their corner's having a nice year. He's a solid, number one corner. But outside of him, they don't have a lot of talent.
Shamar Stewart has not been good.
So normally, even if I think that the coaching stinks, I can say, okay, but they're playing the Jets, and now he's not there anymore. But Sauce Gardner is a good player. Quinnen Williams is a good player. I can't even do that with this Bengals defense. I don't even know who half these guys are.
Shamar Stewart has not been good. Miles Murphy's not been good.
He's on injured
Those
reserve.
are two of the last first-round picks. I'm just saying big picture.
Yeah.
I thought Barrett Carter would be an okay player. Jordan Battle, Geno Stone, aren't terrible, but...
I'll say this, though, and then we got to go.
Oh, Marco Wilson.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is another kind of like ho-hum, take care of business game where they don't necessarily blow doors. I think that we're at that point in the season with the late bye where this team is kind of...
They're banged up. You're right.
They're kind of tired and they're a little bit banged up. So don't freak out if this game is like kind of like the Jets game was, where like the Patriots are clearly the better team, but they don't really run away from the Bengals. I just wouldn't be totally shocked if that
Take their foot
happens.
off the gas a little bit.
Let's say, I would probably pick the Patriots to win this game, 30-17.
I was going to say 34-24.
Yeah, like something that's a comfortable win, but it's not a complete, they're not going to hang 50 on them either. All right, let's take this last call because Mark's a regular, and then we got to clear the way here for PU. What's up, Mark?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it, as always. So I just had two quick things. Kayshon Boutte, I am so excited. I'm hoping that he is back this week. No offense to Kyle Williams. I love Kyle Williams. I think that he'll be better next year, but Kayshon Boutte is a guy that I really think should get extended. And I wanted to ask you, when is he eligible this year to get a contract extension? And then the last thing is, put me on record. Kansas City Chiefs have the last 7 games, I think 4 games, are tough to win. And I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So put me on record for that, guys. Love you, boys.
Love it, Mark. Thanks. So really quickly, yes, Kayshon Boutte and Pop Douglas are extension eligible.
Yep.
All those guys are
starting this offseason.
Are with Christian Gonzalez, same draft class. So all 3 of those guys are extension eligible starting this offseason. It's, as much as we talk about, the Bengals and no Chase, no Hendrickson, no Burrow, getting Ramondre Stevenson and Kayshon Boutte back would be nice for the Patriots. That would be it's not a small thing either. All right, we got to go. Patriots Unfiltered will start here in about 9 minutes, and we'll be back next week, Thanksgiving week. I can't believe it's Thanksgiving already, but next week is Thanksgiving.
Crazy.
So we'll be back next week to talk about this Bengals game, preview the Giants on Monday Night Football. We'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Hey, this is Alex. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.